What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me? Let me double check sound real quick. Sounds good. All right. So, it's been a while. I usually like to take December off because people are busy with parties and family parties, work parties, all the Christmas festivities and holiday festivities. So, I'm excited to be back. We have snow in the mountains. And I'm excited to talk skis with you guys today. So, like always, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. I post a decent amount of funny videos. I do like a mix of funny stuff and normal stuff. Mostly funny is what I post. But then this is where I get like more of the educational content. So, yeah, like us there. Things have been going great. I had a good holiday and I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to go skiing. So, today, as you can see from the thumbnail, we are talking about backcountry skis. Now, the thumbnail is a little bit misleading because though we are talking backcountry skis, I really wanted to do a strong focus on weight on skis and what that does for you, right? Because a couple years ago, well, let's go back to like 2019. The shift was still relatively new, right? The binding, for those of you who don't know. And it was creating a lot of buzz around backcountry skiing because it's something that you could put on a ski and still take in the resort and have like a resort quality binding, but be able to hike in the backcountry with it, right? So people were really excited about it. And there was this huge buzz around, backcountry skiing and what that was going to look like. Fast forward to 2020, COVID hits and resorts start shutting down or having like a huge limited occupancy. And so there was a huge boom in backcountry skis, right? Because those backcountry skis allowed you to continue to go skiing, avoid the crowds, avoid the COVID mess. So during that time, I was working at the shops and a lot of people were coming in and asking about backcountry skis and backcountry setups, and I want to make sure I cut as many grams as possible, X, Y, Z, and the other, right? So we're going to look at the spectrum of backcountry skis to alpine skis, right? And where things fall in between. So to give you like a reference, usually like a good alpine ski, I like it to be around 2,000 grams. Anything less than that usually is a little light, and it doesn't offer as much either suspension or when I get up to speed, it just feels shaky. And I can drop a little bit, like my bent Shetler 120s on this side, they're 1,800 grams, but I put a heavier binding on it, right? And there can be value in having a heavier ski. And a lot of people, when they look at a heavier ski, they think, oh, like that's too much. I can't do that. When really, like depending on their terrain, a heavier ski could really help them shine. A great example of this is like the Nordica Enforcer 100. So back when I was at the shop, we had the Nordic Enforcers, and then that next year they came out with the free line, right? So that's when they introduced a twin tip and they created the Nordic Enforcer 104, 110, and 115, I believe. Anyways, but these are all heavy skis, right? And people be like, oh, I don't know. And everyone who's tried them would be like, I love this ski. And the reason is that ski is really great for inbound skiing and on-piste skiing because that weight is going to help you stay in control. And as you have good form and get that ski to maneuver properly, it's going to bust through any crud. It's going to really give you your energy back, and it's going to play into a lot of these positive things that a lighter ski just couldn't offer, right? So that would be like on the alpine heavier side. And then Something on the lighter side would be like the Atomic Backland series. So I've got Atomic's website pulled up, and I'm gonna share it with you, and we're gonna just talk. We're just talk skis and talk weight, and it's gonna be great. So here we are at Atomic, and once again, if you are backcountry skiing a lot, you probably know what kind of weights you like. But if you're not and you're just getting into it, there's certain things to consider. So the Backland collection is super, super light. Now this ski would be for someone who, they're hiking the majority of their day to take, one really awesome run, or, do something. Or if they are hiking a lot, they're doing like smaller runs. They're not like gunning it as hard. And the reason being is these skis are awesome, right? We have a 109, a 108 women's, the 120, or the 102 and the 101. And then down here we even have like a 95 and an 89, right? So you get into these, like this 86 is like the extreme, right? So when it comes to skis like this, I always like to find the bottom, and then we'll like move our way up. So this would probably be the lightest ski you could find, bar none, right? Like, let's just take a look at the weight here. So advanced to expert, we got flat tails, and we can talk more about that. But backcountry skiing, it's usually preferred to have a flat tail. Because it's easier to take your skins on and off when you have a flat tail, right? You can hook them on easier. Let's see, key features here. So we got like the 3D, the Horizon Tech, which is cool. Ultralight wood core. I'm sure this is, poplar and Caruba. So fun fact, the bent cheller is also made out of Caruba, but poplar's super light. My Gallant skis right here, they're made out of poplar, and they're a little too light for me, but they're great. So let's see if we can find the weight here. No, lame. Fine, we'll check Evo. They've always got good weights. Backland 86. Let's see if they've got them. Lame. Did I spell Backland wrong? Hopefully not. That'd be embarrassing. Here we go. Maybe they just didn't have the 86. So we'll look at the 102. So Evo's really great because they usually always have lots of specs and options. All right, here we go. Individual ski weight. 1,400 grams for the 179. So that amount is going to go down as you get smaller, and it'll go up a little bit as you jump to the 186. To give you guys another reference, these Gallant skis over here are 1,400 grams. That's about 3 pounds of ski, about 3 pounds of ski. Okay, that is super light, and then you can throw a binding on there. If you threw like a shift on there, once again, that's about another 3 pounds of ski. So you're carrying, 12 pounds. It's not a ton. It's really not a ton. And the ski is perfect for uphill, right? You're gaining a lot of uphill mobility when you have a lighter ski like that, but you're losing a lot of downhill ability when you have a ski that's that light, right? So it's not saying that that's wrong, but it's something to keep in mind, right? So if you're willing, so you got to take a step back and say, okay, if I'm backcountry skiing, how often am I going? How long of a duration am I going? And how many runs am I doing, right? Am I going to a certain spot and hiking up and down multiple times? If that's the case, it might be worth a little heavier ski because I can just call it whenever I want. Or if you're going to be doing these long ventures, then cutting those grams can really help. And that's where a ski like this would be really helpful. But once again, or maybe not once again, I haven't really talked on this point, but your binding, depending on what binding you have, will allow you to use your ski like a snowshoe and walk, but you're still having to drag that weight. So it's good to keep in mind downhill performance isn't going to shine as much when you have a weight at this one, right? And once again, this is the 102. I was trying to look at the weight of the 86. Like, it's only going to be less than this, right? Because we're cutting materials down. So very interesting. So yeah, let's keep going. So now we found the bottom. We're gonna move up to, hybrid options. This is where things get fun because, like I said before, when the shift came out, it allowed people to have one ski that could be inbounds and outbounds, okay? So something that they could use to hike in the backcountry, but also use in the resort, right? Or use to charge hard. And so then people were looking at skis and thinking, what options are there that would be something that wouldn't be too heavy or too light and give me a good quality performance inbounds and outbounds. So that's where people like J skis and Forefront kind of step in. So we're going to look at those, and there's a ton of skis. These are just ones that I know pretty well. So we're going to talk on these and we'll keep going from here. So let's do this. Let's do the Slacker first. So J skis created the Slacker. This is it. And once again, this came out in 1920 season, I believe. So relatively new ski, but still on the market. And when this ski came out, I was working with someone in the shop who loves J skis, and he pre-ordered these, and he was one of the first guys to get them, at least to my knowledge. But it's a 110, right? So you're going to be able to have a good amount of surf, and that's something that is outbounds friendly because it's easy to walk up the hill, right? Or skin up. And it's also not too wide. Sometimes when your ski is too wide, you can be knocking into each other as you're walking up. So really great option when it comes to waist width. But as we look down into the specs, and this is really, right, once again, our point here, we're looking at a 182 is 1900 grams, right? That is a jump of 500 grams. So what, an additional pound per ski than that last ski that we were looking at, the Backland. And then if you're skiing a 188, that's 2000 grams. A 2000 gram ski, like I said, that's what I like for inbound skiing, right? So this ski is something, he calls it the least nerdy backcountry ski, because you could really do a lot of cool things with the ski and go into a lot of cool terrain. And if you threw a shift or a kingpin or something on the ski, it would kill it for you, right? And so this is a great example of that hybrid ski, right? It's got a flat tail, and you can even see the tail is notched here. Let's see if you can see it. See how it's notched right there? That's so when you put your skin and you hook it in, it's harder for it to kick loose, right? So really a backcountry ski at heart, but able to do resort skiing just fine. Really cool ski. Hey Otis, no, I don't need your help. So now let's look into Forefront skis. Once again, we have the Sinister, has kind of that same notch design here. That's new for this season. The Sinister is for them. It's 113, so wider than what we were looking at. I've heard some people use the Devastators. Here's the Devastator. Outbound or backcountry skiing. At least the new Devastator. Because the old Devastator was super heavy, 24 grams of ski. The graphics make me laugh. Which graphics? The J skis with the RAM? Yeah, J skis always has crazy graphics. Maybe one day I'll just talk about graphics. That sounds kind of fun, if I'm being honest. All right, so, but it's a light ski, full rocker. the Devastator is. And once again, coming in at 2,000 grams. That's what this ski is. So some people have used that outbounds. But then you look at something like the Raven. Now this ski it weighs more like an out. If I'm not wrong, we'll look at the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's between 14 and 1,500 grams. Yeah, like what's the RAM? It's just what the artist liked. So J Skis is cool because he actually does like a limited run of skis. So he'll commission the artwork and then do like 350 of that ski, and then that graphic is gone forever. Okay, so the Raven. Really cool ski. It does not do well in bounds, right? And it's because of it doesn't have any camber. It's really lightweight. Let's actually see if we can get some true dimensions in here. Oh, 1,800 grams for the 190. And yeah, about the same for the 184. So that's pretty good. That's about what a bent Chetler is, or at least the 120. But you can see this is made for touring and some variable conditions. It's really not super great at hardpack. And it's because that camber profile with the weight, it just doesn't like to be in that terrain. Right, but they created, which is kind of funny. So for those of you who know the history of Forefront, right, Matt Sturbins has come back, and he is the one that founded Forefront back in the day. And the year before he came back, they came out with this Navarre, which is just Raven spelled backwards, and it's because it's the same ski as the Raven, it just has a camber profile. Now, the reason I bring up Matt Sturbins when I talk about that is because in his other company, Wonder Alpine, every ski that they offered, you could get it in a camber or a full rocker profile, right? And so that's kind of a similar thread there, right? But this one would be a little more of a hybrid take, but once again, probably more of a backcountry feel because it's the same ski, just has camber. So then you look at something like the Hoji. Now the Hoji's got a good amount of early rise. That's what both these are. And so it allows the ski, when you're walking with it, to just lift out of the snow and help you walk. But let's look at some dimensions here, and we'll also talk about the four-lock system ever so briefly. So here's the four-lock, so you can see. So you hook your skin here, and then the skin, instead of going all the way to the end of the ski, there's a hole in the ski so you can hook it on. That allows you to not have to fiddle or worry about kicking the back of your skin off, which is cool. So let's look at weight here. 184. We're looking at almost 2,000 grams, right? So this ski, it's a powder ski. And the reason I say that is it's a 112, 1,900 grams full rocker. You can take this thing in the backcountry and it does awesome, right? You could throw a shift on this and do great. It wouldn't be super awesome on some like hardpack or groomers. And it's just because it doesn't have a ton of effective edge. Let's see if it'll tell us. Yeah. So it looks like 1,300 millimeters of effective edge. So that would be, let's see if I can do some quick math. Not quick enough. Anyways, so that's not a ton. And so you're just not getting a ton of stopping power. But in the powder and in touring, you don't need a ton of effective edge, right? Because you're not going to be on these super hard conditions. So now we're bleeding into this hybrid system, right? These hybrid options. I wanted to talk about a couple more hybrid options, but once again, this isn't for me, this is for you guys. So it's about asking yourself, how much weight would I be willing to do? And what exactly is this setup meant to do, right? Is it a designated backcountry setup, so you don't even want like a hybrid binding? Or is this something that you're going to be doing the backcountry maybe 50% of the time, but you also only have enough money for like one ski and you really want the ski to be the one trick pony? then you could get something like the Hoji, throw a shift on there, and you would just have to know that this ski is not going to be doing it for you on groomer days. But other than that, like, it'd be great. It'd be killer, right? Some people are throwing pivots on there. I really like pivots personally. But let's find like a true 50-50 ski, because right now we've really looked at more like 70-30s or 100-100s, right? The Renegade's probably too fat for a true. The Devastator might actually be pretty close to a true, but it would be more of a resort ski. But if you wanted to make it work, you could do that. The MSB 99 wouldn't be a bad option. If Wonder Alpine's website if they were still in business, I'd pull them up. They went out of business recently, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. But they had backcountry oriented skis, and it's hard to market backcountry, right? Because if your brand is specifically backcountry, that's like, it's almost like being a burger place that only sells milkshakes, right? And you're like, great, people who love milkshakes are going to come. But if that's the only thing that you offer, all the people who want a burger, fries, sodas, they're not going to come to you, right? And so I hope that analogy fits at all. We'll see if someone in the comments comes and rakes me across the coals. But Wonder Alpines were marketed as just backcountry. And so a lot of people, even myself, were wary of getting a pair just because the image was like, this is strictly a backcountry ski. But in reality, that ski has enough weight and enough tech to it that it would actually be pretty decent in resort too. Throw a shift on there and it'd be killer. I've seen a couple in the resort, and I'm sure those guys are having a blast. So great ski. But let's see if we can find some skis that we would put in the 50-50 category, or even like 60-40, either way. The first one I want to see, I want to check Armada. Armada. Let's see if I can spell today. Usually I look at numbers all the time, so. I could live off milkshakes for sure. Absolutely. And some people, they could live off only backcountry skis. Okay, so Austin, who I used to do my podcast with, and my brother both have a pair of JJ Ultralights with that are 116s with a shift on it. And my brother actually rides his, that's the only ski he has. He did just get a pair of Bent 100s, which would be a killer option to do as a pure 50-50 ski. But he hasn't had a problem with his 116s. And he doesn't do like a ton of hiking. All right, let's see. Let's see some options here. I would actually be really interested to see how this ski performs. This is new. The 106, that would be a perfect waist width for a 50-50 backcountry and resort ski. Excuse me, sorry. Let's keep going here. The Stranger's really fun. Probably not right there, though. You could. And once again, like, this goes back to the preference conversation that I had with Connor. If you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it, right? Because at the end of the day, what do you prefer, right? Do you prefer something like the Stranger? Throw a shift on it. Great. Are you willing to carry up a 115 declivity? Great, right? Like, at the end of the day, you're the one making these choices. I'm just going to give you a little more information so that you feel comfortable making these choices. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Let's go look at the QST. So another one that comes to mind would be like the QST blank, the QST 106. The QST 106 is actually a prime option, right? Once again, we're at that 106 waist width. It's got a good nose so that you can float in powder, but it also has a decent amount of weight and a decent amount of rise to it that, you know, you would be able to have fun in the backcountry and be able to ride it hard in bounds. So that would be cool. If you wanted something a little wider, is the blank just the X now? No, it's right here. Oh, I was like, no way, I'm out of touch. Not that far. Also, I don't love this graphic. Sue me. Okay, so the QST blank 112, a lot like the Hoji, but this has more camber to it. Now, I've ridden a QST blank, and so did my buddy Austin. My buddy Austin loves them. I, on the other hand, I liked them. They were good, but they were like the ending of Stranger Things. It was good. It wasn't anything great. It was good, though. We can talk about Stranger Things later. But it's like a very consistent, all terrain that feels very similar. So that would be a good option, right, for this pure 50-50 ski. And you can see here, Big Mountain Powder. Like I said, and we are talking a little more weight to it, right? 2,070 grams. That's just a little bit more, not too crazy. And then you throw a shift on there and you're solid. So I keep referring back to the shift because that's what I'm used to. I have a pair of shifts on my Gallant skis right here. And these skis are a little light for me, but that's okay. So they're what I'm used to, but there's other options out there, right? Tyrolia's got options. There's like the Kingpin that's out there. There is the Marker has one, but I can't remember what it's called. The Baron, not the Baron. The Baron is like the frame binding. That is too heavy. So, but we'll just keep referring to the shift. And then for something more serious, there's or more dedicated toward backcountry, that would be like your Marker Kingpins, or something with like an Alpine heel. So, okay, let's keep going. We're starting to wind down. I've kind of hit a lot of the topics I want to talk about when it comes to this weight. But here's a ski, right? The Echo Ski Lab. You can see once again it's got notches. I bet this is more of a designated backcountry ski. Let's check weight on it. Alpine Touring, see, yep, right there. Weight. So in the 181, you're looking at 1760. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then in the 189, you're looking at 1940. So that's pretty good. That'd be a solid 50-50 option. But once again, right, like, what skis do you like? What skis would you enjoy? Or like, what skis would you enjoy, even if it's not necessarily this perfect fit ski, right? There's this preference involved. So let's keep going. One of the best skis that's come out in recent memory is they've changed it this year. It's the 100 this year. It used to be the 98. Now this ski, unreal. This would be a perfect 50-50 ski. 98 waist. It's very similar to the Vital that the Wonder Alpine used to have. But this ski can go anywhere and do anything. So you could totally make this work in the backcountry as well as ski it inbounds. So I guess now that we've hit a lot of 50-50 skis and we've hit designated or like pure backcountry skis, I'm just going to talk about one or two pure frontside skis that I like. Right? Why not? I talked about the Adolo a lot in the past, so I don't feel like I need to talk about the Adolo, but if you want, go look that up because I love that ski. So let's take a look at, I'm not a huge line fan. They're just a little light and a little too surfy for me. I like Forefront a lot, but I'd love if Forefront made like an all-mountain twin-tip ski. I would love that. So if Forefront's listening, all-mountain twin-tip, I'll come help you make it, even though you probably don't need my help, but I'm here. Okay, let's see. let's just see what we've got here. Skis. Brand. Let's look at some Nordicas. So K2s. I like K2s. Don't get me wrong. I like K2s. I think they're great. I've seen a lot of K2s come back. Meaning, someone's bought them, they've gone out, they've skied them, they've hit something, and because of the way they're constructed, they've come back with huge damage on them, right? And something like the Nordica Enforcers, if they take hits like that, they don't fall apart quite the same way. Santa Ana's unreal. Fantastic ski, amazing ski. I interviewed a girl on a couple weeks ago, and she rides the Santa Ana. Very similar to the Black Pearl, which is also an amazing women's ski. Nordica Unleashed 120, that'd be sweet. Nordica Enforcer 99. Now this must have replaced the 100, because it used to be the 100. But like I said at the beginning, this is a heavier ski, pure front side, heck of a ski. It is heavier though, so let's take a look. And the reason it's heavier is there's 2 sheets of Titanol in it. Where's my weight? Lame. Oh well. Take my word for it, it's heavier. And stiff. See right here, 2 sheets of Titanol. Boom. But that gives you a lot of your energy back. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Let's check. Let's just go back, and we're just gonna remove this. We'll do some new 2026 arrivals. Also super exciting. Okay, I didn't talk about the bench Shettlers, but the 100 and the 110 would also be pretty awesome 50-50 options. And a lot of seasonal Forma skis would also be really cool. So that's Eric Pollard's company. He's awesome. So, let's see. I could just peruse here and talk about these all day. I don't even care that there's not that many homies in here. We'll get the homies. They'll come later. It's all good. Icelandic Nomad. It used to be 105. Amazing ski. You could 50-50 that ski if you wanted. I really enjoyed it inbounds. I actually know a lot of people who love the Elon Ripstick 96, and it has a notch at the tail, and that would also be a stellar 50-50 option. Unreal. Lion Pandora would be cool. The Armada B-Dog, that's a park ski through and through. Nomad 106 would be cool. Those are a little heavier, Nomads, or the Icelandic skis. Fun fact, Icelandic skis come out of the same factory as Never Summer snowboards. So, fun fact for you. All right, let's see what else. Stokely's would be an option. Those are a little heavier, a little more of a grooming-oriented front side killer ski. But yeah, I think that's about it. So we can start wrapping up unless you guys got any questions. DeFern, you got any questions? If not, that's totally fine. Libtex, they have like a unique edge to them. I don't know if I'd super trust it. Oh, we can check Moment skis. We'll leave that for another day, but my brother-in-law absolutely loves his Moment skis, and he's got some of their touring, and they have skis like the Death Wish. They have the standard Death Wish and then the Death Wish Tour. So it's like the same build, except for the Tour is lighter to accommodate the hike up. There's the Van Chettlers, the Declivity. Yeah, super cool stuff. Here's some line. I've been getting a lot of ads for the blend, so I guess it's new this season, which is cool. The line Bacon has the ugliest graphic, in my opinion, this season. So if you're into Bacon, they really committed to the Bacon. The Dynastar M3 112 would also be like a heavier, really awesome option. I think that's it. We'll call it there. But if you guys have any questions, if you're watching this back later, like feel free to drop any questions in the comments, and leave a like if you guys want to talk more skis or more opinions, obviously there's pages and pages and pages of skis. So we can do that and talk skis all day if you guys want. But I hope that gave you a little better insight into how to pick a proper weight for what you're looking for. So you're not just like, oh, my buddy said that I need to cut as many grams as possible, so I'm getting the Backland. It's like, well, if you're a strong person, like, you can give yourself a little more ski so you can enjoy it a little more, right? But if you're doing these long excursions, then yeah, cut as many grams as you want. So I hope that gave you a little better insight into how to pick either a 50-50 ski or like strictly backcountry ski. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I love doing this, love talking skis, so keep me posted if you guys want to talk more. And follow us on Instagram for some funny reels, as well as some educational content very similar to this. So thank you so much. Drop a like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks, guys.